Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about behavior problems. There'll be a few more videos yet to come. Please stay to the end for our giveaway. And I have one added treat at the end on how to help with disciplinary problems. And you can also work it in with your program. And it's really exciting. The kids love it. So anyway, one of the first things you want to do is reinforce good behavior. If you see the kids doing something, let them know. Tell them, hey, Johnny, that was great. Hey, way to go, Cabin. That's the way to work as a team. They listen and they see that. So if you're giving them praise when they're doing something good, and then later you have to talk to them about doing something that wasn't so good, they're more apt to listen to you and not go on the defensive. Rules. Go over the rules with them. I touched on it in another video I did, but clearly let them know that, hey, if you follow the rules, there's also going to be some good things that happen. So reward their good behavior. Again, you can reward them with the Wonka box, and I'll talk a little bit more about the Wonka box coming up in a minute. Okay, tolerate a little bit of unacceptable behavior. After all, you are at camp. So the kids are letting go. One thing to remember too when it comes to bad behavior at camps, unfortunately, many parents will take their kids off their medicine. A good example is Adderall. The parents think that it's a good idea to give them the Adderall break in the summer while they're at camp. And so that could be a little bit of your behavior issues too. So always keep that in mind. But anyway, give them a little leeway. Let them have a little bit of fun. But if they are breaking the rules a little bit and you're going to let it slide, don't reinforce that behavior at all. Use nonverbal communication skills. Usually if a child's doing something wrong, he's going to be looking around to see if anybody's watching. And just give that camper a little nod or a little wink and let them know that you see what they're doing and you're not proud of what they're doing. You can always give them a firm look while they're looking at them. Don't give them a mean face or a scary face, but give them a little stern look. And no matter what you do and how you do it, whatever it is, don't embarrass the camper in front of their friends. It embarrasses them. They're going to act up more, and there's nothing worse. These kids probably get picked on at school. You don't want that happening at camp as well. It also helps if you got a kid that you know is acting up or it's on a med break, is try to stay closer to that camper. So he knows that you're watching. Okay, if you have a camper or maybe even two that are acting up, try to redirect that energy or just completely change the activity altogether. Many times campers will act up if they're bored or if they're frustrated. So if they're in an activity that is too hard for them to do or it's too easy for them to do, they'll act up. If you're doing an activity, try to do it so you're ready for different skill levels out of the campers. If you play baseball, not all kids play sports. When my son was growing up, he didn't play sports, he was in the theater. So allow for different degrees of participation in an activity so the camper don't get upset, bored, or feel left out while they're playing. If you're playing kickball, have the person that's not really athletic be the pitcher. Have them roll the ball down. That way they can still stay engaged and they're not going to act up. Now, this is something that you need to be very, very clear about. You need to clarify with the campers exactly what the consequences are going to be if they have bad behavior. I talked about it in another video about setting up cabin rules and having the campers set up their own cabin rules. You can also take that a little farther and have the campers design what their consequences should be. So if a camper breaks the rules, they should clearly understand what they did, why they did it, and what you're going to do to make sure that they don't remind them again. Good example. If you got little Billy pushing a kid around, hey, say, Billy, if you keep pushing Thomas around, I'm going to make you sit out part of arts and crafts. So you gave them a warning ahead of time. And if they do it again, they're going to know what their consequences are. Okay, here's a good one too. As the campers learn the rules, you can ask them, if you continue with this behavior, what is going to happen? Now, that can go two ways. If it's negative behavior, they're going to give you an answer of what they know the negative behavior consequences could be. If it's something that is good behavior, they're going to know exactly what it could be. They could be first in line to get snacks. I'm a firm believer in the Wonka box, but we'll get to that in a minute. Avoid using a threatening tone of voice at them. Don't raise your voice when you're talking to them. Just keep it calm and normal. Even though if you're upset, you got to keep it down on their level and make sure that they understand the consequences. But if they see you getting riled up and upset, they're going to hit those buttons and you're going to become extremely upset. And that's something that you don't want to ever do, is lose your cool in front of the campers. Okay, use timeout or remove them from an activity. Use this very sparingly unless you absolutely have to do it, and make sure the punishment fits the crime. If you have a camper that didn't make his bed, or there's clothes stuffed under his bunk, don't take away an activity period from that camper. I mean, it's ridiculous. Tell them you're going to sit out 10 minutes arts and crafts. Now, as the behavior gets worse, you may want to take and pull that camper out of an entire programming period. Now, I am not a big believer in taking them out of entire program periods, but it depends if the punishment fits the crime. You may have to do that, but I'm a firm believer that don't ever take away swimming as a punishment from a camper. It's the one thing that they look forward to during the day, especially if it's super hot. Don't take them out for the entire period. If you want to really set a point to them, have them sit out 10, 15 minutes of swimming and then send them back in. And before you get too upset, some of the behavior that you might be seeing may not be exactly them acting up. I'm going to put a link to my webpage in this video and go check it out, because some of the behavior that you might be seeing may be typical behavior for that child's age group. And different behaviors are different too in the same age group between boys and girls. So before you get upset and take them out of an activity or part of an activity, take the time to visit my webpage and see, and you can see exactly what the characteristics are for boys and girls for all of the age groups that your campers could be. Okay, use punishment with caution. I already touched on this a little bit about timeout, but when you do use punishment, don't belittle the camper in front of others. Don't tease the camper. Don't make the camper the butt of your jokes. Whatever, please don't. Don't yell at them. And most importantly, don't ever, ever get angry enough to touch a camper. If you have a camper that's getting on your nerves and they're pushing your buttons and you're upset, don't let the camper see it. Find another staff member to take over your cabin group for 20 minutes, half hour, whatever, to give you the opportunity to decompress and then come back and deal with the situation. Stepping away for 15, 20 minutes or more will make a great difference in the way that you're viewing this camper. If in doubt, seek help. Nobody's got all the answers. I was a camp director for 35 years, and trust me, I never had all the answers either. But if you're having a behavior problem, depending on the size of your camp, you could go to the program director. If you don't have one, you could go to the assistant director. If not, you could go to the director. I loved it when staff would bring me behavior problem kids. I'd have them shadow me for half of the day. They would see the kids having fun and they wasn't there. But on the other hand, they had a little bit of fun with me too. I couldn't punish them too hard. So they just spent a good portion of the morning walking around checking activity periods with me. The Wonka box. This is absolutely amazing. I think every camp should have a Wonka box. What the Wonka box is get a big shoebox decorated up, man, with candy wrappers and glitter and all kinds of stuff. And what I did with the Wonka box is I went to the store and I would get, depending on the size of your camp, I'd get maybe 15, 2 dozen wax fruit, apples, bananas, grapes, whatever the case may be. And I would hide them all over camp. And if the kids found one of the plastic fruits, they got to go into the magical Wonka box and pick out some candy. And it was really cool because the kids would go from activity to activity walking along the trails. And the whole time they're looking around everywhere for fruit. And some of your troublemakers, you won't have any trouble out of them because they're looking for the Wonka fruit. So I highly suggest that activity if you don't have it. It's a lot of fun. The kids love it. And not only can the Wonka box be used for someone finding the fruit that you hid, if one of your campers does something really, really well, you can say, hey, you did a great job. After lunch, you get to go into the Wonka box. So whatever you do, make a Wonka box. It'll make your life easy. The kids will have a great time. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. I'm not giving up yet. We only need a few more to give away the songbooks and 50 subs to give away my quilt. Please help me hit this goal, y'all. Peace out.
Go, 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 gorilla, go, now, go.